So this type of video, a story time video, is something that I thought would be pretty interesting to do. I've thought that for a while. I got a few stories I can tell at least. And then I had somebody comment that they would like to hear some stories from me. So I thought, screw it. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll tell some stories. And in the video that I made of how I can have a track in the middle of a neighborhood, I went through a lot of photos for that, like a lot. And when I was going through photo albums, I found these photos of Mammoth in 2004. And Mammoth 2004 is probably my favorite memory of racing pretty much in general. And there's so many circumstances why. So it's story time. I'm going to tell you why I like it so much. If you haven't gone to Mammoth before and you're thinking about it, you probably should, because it's a race unlike any other. Although I say this as having not ridden Mammoth since I was on an 80. When was the last time? I was probably, oh my gosh. It's probably been like 13, 14 years since I've been to Mammoth, so things could be completely different. But when I was there, it was a crazy race. So obviously you're in the town of Mammoth, California, where the world famous ski resort is. So you're up high in the mountains. You're staying at mountain cabins, mountain lodges. You're not allowed to park at the track overnight. So every single morning you have to get in your truck with your trailer or whatever and drive back in, park, do all your stuff, and then leave. So if you're a dad or a mechanic or whatever, that part's probably not very cool. But as a kid, when you get to sleep in the truck while you're driving in, it's not too bad. And then spectators, they also have to park outside of where the track is. And then you get shuttled in on these crazy buses up the mountain. And I don't know, it's just a really cool experience because it's like no other race. There's no other race like this. You're up in the freaking mountains of California racing your dirt bike. So then you're all packed in, like super close together. I think I have a picture of that. Yeah, there we go. So I'll put it up in the video, but you're all packed in super close together. It's crazy. It's a weird race, that is for sure. And then the track for a very long time, I don't know if it still is because I've never ridden there on a big bike, but it was my favorite track ever. I loved that place. You always had to run hand guards because they have just giant rocks there. There was one year where I got a flat and I was doing decently good, and I was pretty bummed out about that. But I mean, what can you do when there's rocks this big all over the track? There's a crazy hill going up. When you're on a 60, you're just wide open, barely moving, going up this thing. And then you get up to the top, and then you go down this super steep hill, and then you do this like switchback thing. Then you hit this tiny little tabletop that I always thought I was scrubbing all huge, but I'm sure I wasn't doing anything. And then you go into the back where nobody can see you, and there's a bunch of switchbacks, and there's no like really big jumps on the track. So when you're a little kid, it's just super fun. Except for there was one tabletop that for me was huge. I'm sure it was tiny, but I remember being very proud of myself when I did this jump. And then the big bikes, when you watch them, when they hit this tabletop, they just land straight into these huge braking bumps. It's super gnarly. But yeah, the track, I loved the track. I was so excited every single year that I got to actually race Mammoth, which I think was like 3, maybe 4. Actually, I think I only raced there 3 years, but I was always so excited to go there. And 2004 was actually my first year racing Mammoth. And that's because, I don't know if it's still like this, but no 50s were allowed to race there. So I always went there with my older brother and just had to watch until I got onto a 60. But for some reason, I was in the older 60 class, so I never raced there in the younger 60 class. I don't really know why this was my first year racing there, but it was. It was my first year racing there. I loved the track. I had this brand new 60 that was fully pro circuit, and it's really funny. I was actually talking to my dad about this the other day when I was thinking about this video. I can remember when I was there, I was like, Dad, this bike is making a really weird noise. I don't know what's going on. And I think it just has to do with the fact that I had never really had a mod bike before. And you know, mod bikes, they just have like a different pitch to them sometimes. The motor kind of has a little whine every now and then. They're just kind of weird sometimes. think that's all it was. The bike was fine. It was just, I didn't know what the heck that noise was. But it had a Pro Circuit suspension on it. At that time, my brother rode for Suzuki's amateur program under Cole Gress, and I'm sure I don't think I was, but I still ran the Suzuki graphics on that bike like all the other amateurs at that time. So I had the same graphics as like Jason Lawrence or LaPaglia or Eli. And if you know anything about the early Suzuki amateur program, you know that around 2004 it was just the team to be on. Me and Trevor ran a red seat instead of a white seat like everybody else because we just thought the red seat looked better. So I had this 660. That's back when No Fear was a thing. Trevor was a No Fear rider, and I just kind of got a No Fear sponsorship through him. I don't even know if I got a sponsorship or what. I always remember Trevor, whether it was Malcolm or some other No Fear rep, would always come up and give Trevor brand new sets of gear, and I never really got any. But I had that sick No Fear gear. I think I had one. It was like Pastrana's freestyle version. Yeah, this yellow stuff. It was like you were wearing shorts. Oh my gosh. Yeah, dude, that stuff was sick. But I had awesome No Fear gear, had a sick Arai helmet, and to this day, I still think that that is the best I've ever looked on a dirt bike, is when I was 10 years old on my Suzuki 65, I guess. I always say 60, but it was a 65 at that time. Everything was just so much better than it is now. So there's all of that just makes for a great weekend. But there was one detail of 2004 Mammoth that really makes this just story and memories special. And that's in 2004, that was supposed to be Mammoth's last ever year. I'm guessing environmentalists or whatever were trying to shut the track down, and they had succeeded. And this was supposed to be the last year of Mammoth. And just like, I guess the vibes on the weekend were just different because everybody thought it was the last year. So with that, I wanted to do good. I wanted to do good at the last ever year of Mammoth. My first year ever racing there, and the last year it was going to be. I wanted to do good. And maybe that's why I did do good. This is one thing, I wish I could remember more of the racing, but man, it was 16 years ago. So I don't remember the racing that much. I just remember that I rode really good. And there was some other, I can't remember who, but I remember I was like battling with some hotshot's old ex-pro's son. I can't remember who it was, but I beat him and I was super stoked. And I actually have the whiteboard of the results on here. Yeah. So 65, 9 to 11. It looks like I went 11-11 for 10th overall. Top 10 gets you a trophy. Top 10 got me this trophy. The coolest trophy I own. Look at this thing. It's carved out of wood. It's a tree. It's got a little plaque on it. Mammoth Motocross, 2004, 10th place. 65, 9 to 11. Race day 2. So I got a trophy of the last year. Well, it's supposed to be the last year at Mammoth. And if you go through this thing, which I actually found like an article or something that gave the top 5 of each class for that year, I've raced with so many fast people in my life, and it made it so much harder to get top 10s like this because I'll have to look on the article, but I can see on here it says, where is it at? First place, a second, and a first. Number 43, that is Eli Tomac. Where's second? I don't see second place on here, but I'll have to look on the article to show you who it is. But third place, 3-2, number 23. Don't remember who that is. But fourth place, with a fifth and a fourth, number 312, that's Jason Anderson. Fifth place, 4 and 6. Who was number 3? Oh my gosh, I should know this. Let me find this article real quick. Mammoth Motocross 2004. Mini results, dirt bike news. That's who has it. All right, let's see here. 65, 9 to 11. First place, Eli Tomac. Second place, Chris Plouffe. I don't know if you guys remember him. He was super gnarly amateur rider. Didn't do much professionally, but he was super gnarly. Okay, here we go. Third place, Blake Bagget. Fourth place, Jason Anderson. And fifth, Kobe Adair. I don't know if you know who Kobe Adair is. We were really good friends with their family growing up. That kid is super gnarly. Grew up riding with Eli and Jason. But he was from New Mexico like Jason. And Eli is pretty much from New Mexico. I know he's from Colorado, but he's pretty much from New Mexico. I really wish that it had the whole top 10 on here. I looked for a while and I couldn't find anything that showed the full top 10, which would be pretty cool because my name would be on there. But just going through this whole results, it's pretty crazy to see who was actually here. Like in 65, 6 to 8, got Justin Hill. And then in fourth place, they have no name listed at 926. That's Jesse Masterpool. So Dirt Rider, if you're watching this, you should probably update this and put Jesse, because that's just like, you should put Jesse. I don't know if you guys know the story of Jesse, but he unfortunately passed away at Lake Whitney in 2010. And his two younger brothers are just killing it right now in professional, Jake and Ty. They should probably put Jesse on there. So Dirt Rider, if you're watching this, just go ahead and update that. Would be very, very nice. Who else do we have on here? 85, 9 to 11. Eli beat Ian Treadle and Zeb Smith. That's pretty gnarly because he was obviously the young one in the class if he's still riding a 60 and those dudes weren't. And there's Chris Plouffe, 5th. 85, 12 to 13. Trent Pugmire. Whatever happened to him? Tyler Villapoto, Kennard, Cole Seeley, Taryn Odell. Man, this is super gnarly. 85, 14 to 15. Ryan Villapoto, Cunningham, Topher Ingalls. What happened to him? And then Super Mini. Ryan Villapoto, Nico Izzy, Trent Pugmire, Ben LeMay, and Blake Wharton. Man, this is quite the top 5 in every class. And I wish they said top 10. But on here, too, it does say. Let's see. I thought it did. Here we go. Thumper Talk. Such a terrible forum name. Thumper Talk. Really? Okay, but here it says, the last Mammoth Mx race. It says, every summer for the past 37 years, racers have flocked to Mammoth Mountain for this classic event, the oldest continuously running motocross in the USA. Generations of motocross riders have competed on Mammoth's famed track over the years, making Mammoth an early season tradition on the racing circuit. It was supposed to be the last year, and they're still doing it. Can you see why it was such a just crazy week? Because it was supposed to be the last week after going for 37 years? But probably the coolest part for me of the whole week is everybody that got top 10 not only got a trophy like this, but got to sign this, I don't even know what you call it, this just board, this big old humongous board. Look at me. I'm so small, so cute. But if you look on here, I think this one shows it more. Yeah, this one shows it more. But if you look on here, it's crazy the names. So there's me next to Zeb Smith and Trevor Reese. We were hanging out with the Reese family the whole time, and I really looked up to Trevor. He signed his name next to me, and I thought that was really cool. What else? Who else do we have on here? So there's Jesse's signature. They got Eli down here. There's Jason Anderson over there. Whoever has this board, this huge poster, whatever you call this thing, whoever has it, can I buy it from you? Seriously, this is like one of my greatest achievements is being able to sign this board. And I just want to see it again. I want to look at all the names on it. I want to see my name. It's just crazy. At this time, the only shirts I ever wore were motocross shirts. Mostly race shirts. Like this one is Spring Creek 2002. But man, Mammoth 2004. These pictures are awesome. So crazy that I found these pictures and all these memories just came back. See if there's anything else. Here's the parking lot that you had to park at and then be shuttled in if you were a spectator. See how big that wall was that everybody signed? I want to know where this is at. Is it still at Mammoth? That would be really freaking cool if this board was still at Mammoth. Can somebody that's been there recently tell me if this is still there? Because if it is, I might have to make another trip there sometime. Who knows? Oh, but that's I think that's pretty much it for my first story time. I started out with one of my favorite memories. I don't know if I should have done that, but I have more stories I can tell. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. This video was for you, Chris. You were the one who really wanted this, and I think that's pretty cool. Anyways, I hope I didn't leave anything out. I'm trying to think if I did. I don't think I did. I really hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, I'll definitely do more story times because, like I said, I got a few. For videos that I'm working on, we've started our pit bike jumps, and I'm terrible on a pit bike. Probably doesn't help that I'm 6'1". I'm so big on this freaking thing, but it is still so much fun, so expect some pit bike videos. I hope you liked this. Subscribe for more. Just all that stuff. I feel so stupid saying that, but we're almost 2,000, so maybe you can be my 1,000th. If you are my 1,000th, I'll shout you out. So what do we have, like 119 more, I think? Okay, I need to quit rambling. I just freaking ramble all the time. Anyways, love you guys. Bye.